Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, guys, we got a video about Hoops Reference, the 10 most underrated players in the NBA today. So I believe I did check out his overrated video. I don't remember if I agreed or disagreed with that. I'm sure there was probably a little mix of both out there. So yeah, guys, here are 10 players that are underrated. You let me know in the comment section below, guys. Who's the most underrated player, most underappreciated player in the entire NBA? Let's get him in.
In my last video, I discussed some players that, in my opinion, have become a bit overrated in the NBA, and obviously the nature of the video resulted in
Remember, it doesn't even
mixed
mean
reviews,
bad.
which I expected going in because the topic in and of itself is relatively controversial because of how the term has a negative connotation. For today's video, though, we're going to the opposite side of things and are bringing back a more positive outlook.
Underrated.
As the topic of today's video, we'll be identifying 10 players in particular that I believe have become severely underrated.
Bro, why is he doing that? What is that? What is that move right there, man? Like, that's a travel.
The NBA today. These are players that either are viewed by the majority of basketball fans as being worse than they really are.
Bro, what is he
just players
doing?
that don't get the appropriate attention for being as good as they are. Before we start, though, I wanted to thank the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Look, we're all stuck inside right now.
Yeah, that shit works, man.
Experience there, so that means
got me a Manscaped.
And improving a Nick
got me a Manscaped, guys.
Charge people to get and in the career that I believe has become incredibly underrated by a large majority of NBA basketball fans.
I agree.
Is Ben Simmons of the Philadelphia 76ers.
100% agree.
Evidence of how underrated Simmons is comes in literally any and every form of discussion around his name when it comes up. Any social media post, mention in the media, or discussion amongst fans always comes with a wave of people bringing up his unwillingness to shoot jumpers, and it's literally impossible for anyone to compliment his game without a sly remark or negative response about his shooting following it. The idea that Simmons' shooting holds his team back is—
I do know Hoops Reference is also a big Philadelphia fan, so he's gonna feel another type of way about this. You know, we don't like when because you know, when you're a fan of a team, you watch every single damn game, so you have a certain appreciation for people out there that maybe others don't. I'll tell you guys all about Bruce Brown. Yeah, Bruce Brown? Yeah, you probably don't got nothing to think about that, man. That man is a good basketball player.
Is a total myth, and there isn't a single piece of evidence statistically or from simply watching the games that supports that notion. Yet it's one of the most common presumptions about him. Simmons is an easy playmaker, elite defender, and one of the fastest players in the league, and virtually unstoppable in transition. He makes those around him better, and he's proven to be capable of stepping up and producing at a higher level when the team has been without Joel Embiid. He's easily a top 20 player in the NBA, yet to most people, that would sound like some sort of hot take. The next player that has become pretty underrated in the NBA today is Russell Westbrook of the Houston Rockets.
I've become a lot bigger fan of Russell Westbrook over the years. You know, really, since last year, I should say. You know, before that, I was like, okay, Russell Westbrook, bit of a chucker out there. But I don't know, man. I really appreciated him taking a step back to Paul George last year and letting Paul George ball out. And this year, he's had a slow start. I mean, it's a new team. You have to be on the same team for damn 10 years. Yeah, and also playing with a guy like James Harden, who's pretty difficult probably to get used to playing with, at least. I've been respecting Russell Westbrook's been doing. I wish he would get more props for it.
With Westbrook,
police report said 22, man.
Would have landed on a list of being an overrated player, but the tide has shifted so ridiculously far in the opposite direction regarding how people view his play that now the amount of hate he gets is just completely absurd.
Because he don't average triple doubles anymore.
His ability to average a triple double all those years,
there we go,
make him a top 5 player or anything crazy like that.
Speaking of me doing that right there, guys, apparently in one of the last videos I just did when I reacted to Colin Cowherd, we both did that same motion at the same exact time, guys. It was at like the 10:50 mark of my last Colin video that I did.
But to completely write off accomplishments like that,
it was crazy. My girlfriend laughed her ass off.
Is equally as ignorant. Sure, his rebounding numbers have probably been a bit inflated over the years because of the systems he's operated in, but the reason for those systems being the way they are is because when Russ grabs those rebounds, it allows him to immediately push the pace and put pressure on defense.
Damn guy, badminton bats.
In much more high-quality opportunities. Even now on the Rockets,
I watched the hell hell out of that sport.
One of the best players in the league at beating his man.
I'd watch the hell out of that
and
sport.
Getting to the rim. And with all of the attention James Harden gets by defenses, this becomes even more apparent when the ball was in Westbrook's hands more often. Bleacher Report recently ranked him as the 22nd best player in the league. And that's just stupid, because very much he's still hovering around being a top 10 player. The next player that I believe is a bit underrated in the league today is the man picked first overall in the 2018 NBA draft, being DeAndre Ayton, is the player. The next
Timothy, get your ass up there in front of the court, take a picture for Facebook and smile, damn it.
First overall in the 2018 NBA draft, being DeAndre Ayton of the Phoenix Suns. That 2018 draft is proving to be filled with quality talent, with Luka Doncic and Trae Young dominating headlines more often than not. But the weird part is that the guy picked first has flown completely under the radar. I can't remember the last time a top pick got this little attention, because whether it be in the media, amongst fans, or even by people around the league,
even Bennett being a buzz got attention
like crazy. Very much. It's not even like he's playing bad either, because he's actually been a highly impressive player, putting up very good numbers. His averages of 19 points and 12 rebounds per game, while blocking just shy of 2 shots per game.
I think maybe the big reason behind that, correct me if I'm wrong with this, guys, because when DeAndre went out with that suspension, weren't the Suns balling out? And then once he got back, they kind of fell off a bit. Or do I have that backwards? I could have that backwards. I know Aaron Baines was doing really well for a bit.
Is production very few other bigs around the league are putting up. The combination of the Suns once again being a bit disappointing as a team, others in his draft outshining him,
Phoenix
and his
Suns
play not being the flashiest do all contribute to him being underrated, but he definitely does deserve more respect. The next underrated in the NBA world is Christian Wood of the Detroit Pistons.
Let's get it, man.
Wood is a 24-year-old, yet has already become a bit of a journeyman in the NBA, and at every stop he's made, he never really got a real opportunity to prove his worth. He sat on the end of benches for several teams, played sparingly, but never really got consistent minutes in a rotation. After years of dominating the G League and Summer League, though, he finally got an opportunity in Detroit.
He was going to the Pelicans like the last 5 games last year.
And ran with it. When the team traded away Andre Drummond, Wood stepped into his starting center spot, and from that point on, he's produced like one of the best bigs in the whole league. Since that point, he's averaged 23 points and 10 rebounds per game, while shooting 56% from the field and 40% from 3.
Hope he comes back.
His highly skilled play style, both inside and out, give him the exact skill set NBA teams love from their centers.
Hope he comes back.
I personally am very high on him and think he could become a borderline all-star in the next few years, but nobody seems to realize the potential he has.
Because Detroit Pistons. I mean, Detroit Pistons is one of the most disrespected franchises out there. Like, I understand they're not winning games and stuff, but even like when a player does good, it's like, if that specific player did go around like the Lakers or the Celtics, they'd be talking like a damn Hall of Famer.
Continuing on the trend of journeyman centers finally getting their opportunity, the next underrated player is Richaun Holmes of the Sacramento Kings. Holmes played 3 years in Philadelphia.
There's like a double-double, didn't he?
1 year in Phoenix prior to this season, and on those teams, he was pretty much only ever used as an energy guy who would make some fun highlight plays and ignite the team. But again, the consistency with his role was never there. Now in Sacramento, the Kings' big man situation was never solidified early on, so it was none other than Holmes who won the starting job. With his hard work and motor, he crashes the glass hard, he finishes incredibly strong around the rim, trying to dunk anything he can.
Got quarantined for 10 days for getting fast food. I'm still wondering what he went out to get, man. I'm still
he
wondering.
Works very well with De'Aaron Fox in the pick and roll.
What's good
He's
in Florida?
Averaging a nice 13 points and 8 rebounds per game this season, and looking even deeper into the numbers, you see that the Kings are almost 4 points better with him on the court versus when he's off the court. He's another guy that just needed an opportunity, and now that he has it, he's making the most of it. The next underrated player that we'll be discussing is a choice you probably didn't see coming.
Nope.
It's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope
of the
Los Angeles Lakers.
Let's hear it.
The narrative surrounding this guy has been so negative for most of his tenure with the Lakers, and in large part for good reason. But I don't think many people realize and have given him enough credit for really turning things around this year. He's arguably having the best season of his career, and you have to look past his scoring average to realize this. In the past, he's been heavily criticized for his decision-making and poor shot selection, which in turn resulted in him playing very
really focus on this one, guys.
But this year, he's been much smarter, and as a result, has been one of the Lakers' best and most reliable bench players. Despite him scoring the fewest points per game since his rookie season, he's shooting a career high in field goal percentage and three-point percentage.
I guess that's something.
And that, combined with his defensive output, has led to him being
He's gonna need to step up though with no Avery Bradley and no Rajon Rondo. He's gonna need to step the hell up.
Exactly the kind of role player that the Lakers need.
He could be a sleeper X factor.
And Anthony Davis. The next underrated player is
Marcus
someone
Smart,
who would probably fall under this category for most of his career.
Really like Marcus Smart a lot.
Of the Boston Celtics. Looking solely at the box score, you likely wouldn't come away very impressed with Smart's production because nothing really jumps out at you about a guy that averages 13 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds while shooting only 38% from the field.
He's got that great D though.
35% from 3. But the thing is that Smart very well may be the perfect example of a player you have to watch regularly to understand just how good he really is.
Do they take the banners from the Celtics arena and they put it and they hang them up in like this gym over here or something? This shit seems like a lot, because that's not the court they play. That's a lot of damn work, man.
His shooting inconsistencies, he's the heart and soul of the Celtics team, and his non-stop motor, defensive prowess, and the ability to thrive in big moments elevate the team around him. He's one of the best and most versatile defenders in the league. He's a very good playmaker despite what the numbers say, and the Celtics wouldn't be having the success they're having without him. The next underrated player we'll be discussing is a key member of the surprisingly good Toronto Raptors, being Norman Powell. Powell's first 3 years saw him being a bit of a hit-or-miss role player that had flashes of ability, especially with his athleticism and his ability to get to the rim, but all in all, he was inconsistent and not the most reliable. Last year, though, he finally broke through a little bit, and even though his role
about damn time,
he was doing a much better job in his role off the bench. Now playing 10 more minutes per game this year, and as a result of that, he's doubled his previous career high in scoring at 16 per game. He's shooting a career high from the field at
16 a game,
and he's also knocking down threes at a career high rate, making about 40% of them.
Call him
he's
the Green
a
Goblin.
Very good all-around player to have in the rotation, and on a team that was in need of someone to step up on the wing after losing both Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green in the offseason. He's done exactly that this year. The next underrated player we'll be discussing is Dennis Schroder of
Schroder shouldn't be underrated. This man should be properly rated.
One of the most surprisingly good teams of the year, and at the helm, guys like veteran Chris Paul and promising young star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander get a ton of the credit. But Dennis Schroder is also having the best season of his career, and he's playing a major role in the team's success.
Which is crazy on a team that has 2 point guards starting already. Like, they really got to think about that.
He's scoring 19 points per game while shooting 47% from the field and 38% from 3, and is one of the leading candidates for the 6th Man of the Year award.
Might win it.
His shot creation and playmaking off the bench have been vital, and his ability to close games despite not starting gives the team a plethora of scoring options down the stretch.
It's a great word. Wow.
He's always been someone
That's
capable
a good word.
of performing
Plethora.
like this, but this year he's managed to play at a high level much more consistently. And finally, the last player we'll be discussing that I believe has become pretty underrated in the NBA today is TJ Warren of the Indiana Pacers.
Good score.
Warren would also fall under this category throughout most of his career, but despite
for
his
$1
vast improvement over the last 2 seasons, the credit he gets still hasn't really changed all that much. The Pacers have been without their star Victor Oladipo for pretty much the entire season, and while Domantas Sabonis has also stepped his game up a good bit and become an all-star, Warren is the guy leading the team in scoring, and also playing a big role in the team being currently 5th place in the East. He's scoring about 19 points per game and has been highly efficient in doing so, making 53% of his shots and 38% of his threes.
I agree. I have nothing really to say about TJ Warren. He's a good player.
Mismatches in the post and has a killer mid-range game, and most importantly, his three-point shot has improved a ton. He's a very good player to have in your starting lineup, and while he probably isn't cut out
to be a true
number 1 option, he is definitely a very good number 2. And
all right, guys, that is the end of the video right there. Yeah, I agree with all these. There's guys that I don't think should be underrated that obviously are, like a Dennis Schroder, Ben Simmons, Marcus Smart, but overall, yeah, I agree, man. What do you all think? Christian Wood. All right, that's all we got, man.